All right, welcome back. The lack of an ethics code for Supreme Court justices is under scrutiny. There is an ethics code, we should say, but there's a lot of people, especially Senate Democrats, who want a new and expanded ethics code. There's new exclusive reporting from Politico about Justice Neil Gorsuch and the sale of a Colorado property he owned with two other business partners. Heidi Przybyla is Politico's national investigative correspondent and joins us now. All right, so the accusation, Heidi, is that he owned this property inside of an LLC with other partners, and that one of America's top law firms that often argues before the Supreme Court bought the property right after he was announced as and confirmed as a justice. Is there any evidence that everybody knew who was buying and who was selling the property?
Not when it first happened, according to Brian Duffy, who is the CEO of Greenberg Traurig, and to his great credit, Leland, agreed to talk to me about this. Look, the issue here is that this transaction, it's a pretty big transaction. Gorsuch is a co-owner along with two others in this, took place 9 days after he was sworn in, which of course would raise our curiosity. So we looked into it a little bit further and found out who the purchaser was. Now, Gorsuch did not speak with us, but the purchaser, the CEO of Greenberg, did. And he told me, look, I didn't know when I first started pursuing this that Gorsuch was the owner. But he said throughout the course of this, he did realize who owned this property. And again, the timing of it was that this offer was made, then it went into contract about 9 days after Gorsuch was confirmed to the court. Now, you said accusation. Those are just the facts. It's not an accusation. It's just the fact that that happened. And the question here, according to ethics experts, is really just, is this an example of why we have this problem with the Supreme Court of disclosure, lack of disclosure, lack of recusal that is different from every other branch of Congress? Yes, they have an ethics code, but that code, unlike other branches in our government, unlike Congress, unlike the executive branch, is not enforceable. There's no enforcement mechanism. There's no body to enforce it, unlike most other Western countries when it comes to their highest court. So this is just presenting the facts.
So we get but the fact is, you guys put them out. Gorsuch and partners sold $1.825 million worth of property to a law firm executive, law firm often involved in Supreme Court cases. The quote that you got from Brian Duffy, "I've never spoken to him, I have never met him," referring to Gorsuch. So at least according to the law firm, there was never an attempt, at least from the beginning when they started thinking about buying this property, that they knew that someone who had just been confirmed to the Supreme Court was selling it.
Yeah, and there's no one in this article either saying that there was any kind of like pay to play here or anything like that. The question here is about disclosure. The question also is about recusal. And look, there's other cases like this in terms of recusal that have created controversy in the past, such as Kagan, who served as Solicitor General under Obama, and then some conservatives wanted her to recuse. This is why reasonable people can quibble, Leland, is because there's not an enforceable code. And so this really kind of plays into this broader narrative that we've all been discussing with the revelations as well around Justice Thomas, who, by the way, this is a pretty different situation, right? Given that those were gifts from a friend.
Heidi.
And this is a CEO who has business before the court who doesn't know Gorsuch.
It is. Heidi, it's Johanna. I just have a question. So when I was looking up Duffy, now Duffy has used his money to influence politics. He's donated to Clinton. He's donated to Gillibrand. He's familiar with this process. Did you get into any of that with him?
I did look into his past contributions, of course, just to see, this guy says he's a Democrat. Is he really a Democrat? And he is a Democrat. He runs in those circles as well out in Colorado. And look, according to him, he's an avid fly fisher. He'd been looking for a property for many years for his family. This was the perfect property. But for people who care about the court's image, the court's integrity, there's a lot of experts who say, look, it would actually be a good thing for these justices not to have these impressions or these suggestions out there if there was some kind of an enforcement mechanism like other branches of government.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.